Yo, what's up? This is John from Judge Innovation Garage in the Peach capital of the state, baby. All right, let's see who's in here, boys and girls. Carolina Big, Cars in the Cut. TJ, Cars in the Cut. TJ, Tony Bands. Southern, Metal Art. Carolina Big. What's up, everybody? All right. What's his name? Matthew Conant. All right. Put that little Texas whistle in it, yeah. I got this little motor stream outside. Put that little whistle. All right. I am glad that Cars in the Cut is in here. All right, let's see. We got a little bit of all right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do this right quick. Let me go down here. And I got to give credit where credit is due. And credit is due. Credit is due with my guy, Carol. Credit is due with Cars in the Cut. Cars in the Cut. And the reason why credit is due for Cars in the Cut is because Cars in the Cut, y'all think Cars in the Cut, I don't know what y'all think about Cars in the Cut. I don't know. I don't know what anybody thinks of him, but I tell you what I think of Cars in the Cut. Cars in the Cut, I consider Cars in the Cut one of my closest, newest homies. Yeah, Cars in the Cut is one of my closest new homies. And I say I don't say that lightly. And the reason why I don't say that lightly is because I'm going to give Carolina. For some reason, Carolina Big is in my mouth. Cars in the Cut. I'm gonna give Cars in the Cut his attaboy, and the reason why I'm gonna give him his attaboy is this right here. Cars in the Cut is. I'm not gonna tell all of his business, but I will say this. Computer-wise, technical-wise, he's the cat's meow. So, you know, I've been having an issue with this burn table. So, this burn table is a CrossFire Pro. This burn table is a CrossFire Pro. It is from Langmuir Systems. You shouldn't be telling anybody's business. All right. So, Cars in the Cut, if y'all need to know anything about computers, servos, technical, comms, Wi-Fi boosters, any of that stuff like that, if you reach out to Cars in the Cut, he can help you. Okay? He can help you. All right. So, here's what I got going on. This is a CrossFire Pro Langmuir system, 4 foot by 3 foot cut table. Okay. Now, this cut table runs on a software system that is activated by a laptop. Okay. Now, here's the problem. The problem is this. The company told me what laptop I needed. I ordered the laptop. I ordered the laptop that I needed. I ordered it off Amazon. It never showed up. It showed up somewhere, but I didn't get it. So I did a claim on it. Took forever. And then I ordered another one, and it never showed up. Right? So I sent the computer specs to Cars in the Cut. And I told him in his spare time, look it over and let me know what you think. He looked it over. He called me. He said, hey, look, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Best Buy to get a daggone laptop today. Now, I don't own a laptop. Everything I do is on an iPhone. So he said, well, make sure when you get there, make sure they don't try to upsell you to sell you something that you don't need, because they'll do it. They'll do it. So when I get there, I show the people at Best Buy the computer that the company told me that I needed. Well, that computer had been discontinued. They just sent me the link like a month ago, been discontinued. So I asked them, what could I get? And then they try to tell me. And then I said, you know what? The salesman's in there. They're telling me everything, what's going on, blah, 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 blase, blase. And I said, you know what? Let me make a phone call. So I called Cars in the Cut. I get Cars in the Cut on the phone. I said, hey, big dog, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to ask you a question. This is what the software system that the company says that I need to have to run this burn table, right? So the burn table, you need a laptop to run Langmuir systems, and then you have to download Fusion 360 CAD, and then you draw everything in CAD, and then you take it from CAD and you put it in Langley's fire control system, and Langley's fire control system reads the software from Fusion 360. So you have to get a computer big enough to run fire control and 360. So that's where Cars in the Cut comes in play. There were two computers that I was looking at that was adequate. Two, right? Then that's when I called Cars in the Cut, and I said, this is what I got going on. What do I, what is your recommendation? And he told me, well, if you get this one, you can do that. If you don't get this one, you can't do that. Blase, blase, all this kind of stuff. So with that being said, this is what we went with. This is what I got right here. Here's what I ended up with. A HP OmniBook X Flip laptop, Intel Core processor 226, 512 gigabyte, 16 on board, Windows Touch, Sail. It has Studio. It has art software in it. It has the graphic software in it. This is the one I went with. It's the OmniBook Pro. It's 14. It's a flip screen. It actually flips. And I actually went and got a mouse as well. Didn't need a mouse. This thing actually flips completely all over. So that's that. So I have actually been on tech support with Langmuir Systems since 4 o'clock. It is now 7 o'clock. I've been on tech support with them for 2 hours, and I let their tech take control of the laptop to go through to do a dry run, to do a setup process on the machine. After 2 hours of going through everything, we got everything to work, right? Everything is working, right? You can see it working. I'm pushing the buttons. She's moving, right? Everything's good, right? Now, here's the problem. Here is the problem. Let me show you what the problem is. The problem is come on, man. The problem is that this damn report just keeps coming up. That's one problem. They got to fix that. They got a malware issue. They got to fix that. So they going to redo their software, and then I'm gonna get an updated version tomorrow. Today I got version 1.3 LS. But here's the problem. It's backwards. It's backwards. It's backwards. And what do you mean it's backwards? Here is the crazy part. when I got this machine 3 months ago, they sent me a file with instructions to put this thing together. And I printed off the instructions. I went to Staples and I printed off the instructions. 187 pages I printed off at Staples in color. And I put this unit together exactly the way the drawing said, everything's right. And then when Johnny, that's his name, Johnny, from Langmuir, he's telling me, he's like, hey, I'm moving the negative y-axis. I'm moving it, right? I'm moving the negative y-axis. And I said, yeah. I said, yeah, you're moving it. I said, but the problem is it's not going the right way. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, you're moving it negative y, but it's actually going positive y. He said, there's no way. I said, dude, you cannot see the table. I'm looking at it. You're running the computer he's in Texas, and he's doing all these controls, and I'm telling him what the table's doing. He's going negative y, and the torch is going positive y, right? So you got y-axis, x-axis, and then you got z-axis. This thing is a 3-axis machine, right? So the problem is when he's going one way on the screen, the torch is actually going the opposite way. So, like Cars in the Cut told me, he says, man, them servos are crazy, man. If you don't have them things right, everything will go hinky. Well, that's what it's doing. It's going crazy because then it will run up to the limit switch, and when it hits the limit switch, it thinks it's running out of room, but it's not actually running out of room. So then he told me, hey, do you feel comfortable taking the box apart? I said, absolutely. He's like, what? I said, absolutely. So I took the box apart to see all of the drive motor, all the drive, what's the word I'm looking for, cars? All the drivers. There's 4 drivers in there, right? There's 4 servos. There's one here, there's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. There is 4 drivers in here. So they asked me, Johnny Be Good, asked me, how did I feel about taking this apart? I said, not a problem. So I took the screws out, took the cover off. You got all the wires in there. You got the drivers. You got everything in there. He said, look at the drivers. Look at the drivers. Matter of fact, I'll take the daggone thing apart so I can show you what we're talking about. Let y'all get in here. Let y'all live with me right quick. Let me get in here and let you live with me. Let me live. Hold on a second. Y'all hold tight right quick. So he said, how do you feel about taking that cover panel off? I said, man, I'll take it apart. Whether it's wrong or right, we'll take it apart. He said, something is not right other than my sweaty ass hands. Y'all hang tight. Y'all hang tight now. Hold on, don't go nowhere. All right, here we go. He said, you mind taking that thing apart? I said, no, sir, I'll take it apart. So, Lord have mercy. All right. Let me live with you. All right. So I took it apart. Now, let me turn this thing off. No, let's leave it on. These are the drive motor. These are the drivers, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers, right? Well, he said, do you see any lights? I said, at the time, I said, no, I don't see no lights. He said, you don't see no lights in there? I said, nope, I don't see no lights. No light, no light, no light, no light. He said, interesting. He said, can you see a silver box? I said, I do see a silver box. Is that silver box on? I said, nope, there's no power on it, none. He said, is the light on the front of the box? I said, yep, the light's on the front of the box, and the light is on for the computer. But there is no light, that light's on, and that light's on, but there's no other light. So he says, let's do something right quick. I said, all right. He said, turn it off. I turned it off, and I unplugged it. He said, you see that little hole right there? You see that little hole right there? He said, there is a small access door on the side of that silver box. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you see that square hole in there? I said, I do see that square hole in there. He said, can you look in there and see if it's switched on 220 or 110? I said, okay. And I said, well, it's supposed to be 110 because that is a 110 plug, not a 220 plug. I ordered a 110 plug, not a 220 plug. He said, look in there and see if it's been switched. So I looked up in that hole, and lo and behold, it was not. It was on 220. I said, it's on 220. He said, well, switch it over to 110. So I took this little handy dandy little screwdriver right here with the power off and it unplugged and said, switched it over to 110. Plugged it back up, turned it on. Voila, the little green light come on. Look at them spider webs. Little green light come on and the fan come on. That green light was still on, but I still had no power on the servos on these processors. Still did not have no. Now, I'm not very computer savvy, but I'm very mechanically inclined, and I know when something don't look right and where something's supposed to go. If you'll just tell me one time, you'll only have to tell me one time, and I got it. You don't have to keep repeating something over and over again. You tell it to me once, I'm good. If you do something and I see you do it one time, that's all I need to see it. I don't need to see it again. I can duplicate it. He says, you have no power on, there's no light on the green boxes. I said, no, sir, there's no light on the green boxes. He said, can you look, Johnny said, can you look on top of the black box and you see where it says switch? And I said, yeah, you guys can't see it, but right there it says SW1, SW2, SW3, SW4, SW5, SW6. I said, yes, sir, I see all those. He said, can you look up in that hole right there and tell me if the toggle switch for S2 is flipped down or is it flipped up? I said, hold on a minute, Johnny. Let me get up here and look. So I got up in there and looked, and all 6 switches are flipped up. He said, damn it, boy. I said, what's that mean? He said, what about the next one? The next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. Every one of them was all flipped up. He said, it happens, but it's very rarely that it happens. I said, what's that? He said, they didn't switch that stuff over before they shipped it to you. I said, okay. He said, it's supposed to be switched over to 110, and every one of those number 2 switches need to be switched down, not up. Can you switch those? Do you feel comfortable doing it? I said, hell yeah, I feel comfortable. I said, hell, if it's got hair on it, I can ride it. If it's got a beat to it, I can dance to it. And if it's got a daggone steering wheel, I can drive it, baby. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. So I reached up in there and I flipped number 2, I flipped number 2, I flipped number 2, and I flipped number 2. Then I plugged it back up, and once I got it back on, I turned the power on, and voila, the fan comes on, and all the lights on, and the servos start humming. They start humming. You put your hand on them, they started building up heat, and they humming. I said, man, these things are humming like a daggone black gospel choir, boy. They in here, yes, Lord, tell me about it. He said, all right, good deal. He said, all right, we got that fixed. Now let's go over here and see what we can do. I said, all right. So with that being said, we got every bit of that going on. Let me turn this, yeah, that switch is on. So we get in here, and he goes and he accesses the computer, and we start pulling stuff, and that is a malware glitch. They're going to fix that. And he said, open up fire control and see what you got going on. I opened up fire control, and then I have the upgraded version where it goes to 0, goes to home, goes to dry run. It has limit switches where it knows where it's at, hits here and hits there, right? This table right here will cut up to 1-inch plate, right? It's got the 45 CNC plasma, which I'm gonna build a table for. And then we go through the dry run, and like I said, it's going backwards. And he says, why is it going backwards? I said, I don't know. It's backwards. So he accessed the camera on the laptop. I took the laptop and turned it around and looked at it, and he said, man, that thing is built backwards. I said, what do you mean it's built backwards? He said, it's backwards. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, the gantry rail. This is called a gantry rail. He said, the gantry rail, the servos are supposed to be on the back side of the gantry rail, meaning that this rail, you see how this rail is? And it's going this way, and the motors are here. This is supposed to be turned 180 degrees. And I said, oh. He said, yeah, this is supposed to be turned 180 degrees. I said, well, that's not going to happen, because if you turn this 180 degrees, the control panel is on this side, and then the cable for this is not long enough. It won't reach, because here's the control panel. So if I rotate this 180 degrees, where this is actually, the torch is on this side, everything, just flip this and rotate it 180, right? Then it will be going this way. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, this cable is not long enough, boss man. I said, I tell you what we can do. This servo, I said, how is it built backwards? Because I followed the instructions. So he went and accessed I sent him the email that they sent me. He pulled up the drawing, and they sent me the wrong drawing. They sent me the drawing for the CrossFire, not the CrossFire Pro. So multiple things had went on. One, they didn't switch all the switches in it from 220 to 110. Two, they sent me the wrong drawings. It says CrossFire, not CrossFire Pro, all right? So I put it together, and it went together. I mean, I didn't drill nothing. I didn't modify nothing. I didn't do anything. But the problem is, the servo motors are different between the Pro and the regular. So what it's doing, it's actually backwards. So he tried to he says, man, I can do one or two things. And I said, what's that? He said, I can lie to the software and make your negative X actually positive, but you'll have to remember that. And if anybody uses your machine other than you, they will be backwards, because the drawing will be backwards. I said, no. Let's fix it. He said, well, let's talk about it for a minute. And I said, well, so you're telling me these servos need to actually be right here. This one has the longest cord, so this one will reach from here to there. And then I need to take that servo and put it on that end. Then I need to unhook all this and take this and put that at the back. He said, well, I don't know how you're going to do that, because it's got a hole drilled in it. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, there's a hole drilled in it, so that's where that goes. And I said, uh-huh. So I got a choice. I said, well, I got a drill bit. I can drill a hole in that one right there, and I can move this rod down there. He's like, well, if you do that, then it's going to void the warranty. I said, okay, fine, not a problem. I said, I will take this son of a gun apart, and I will put it back to, I said, you send me the right drawing, the right schematics, the page numbers. I will tear this son of a gun apart, and I will put it back together, and I'll have it put back together before lunchtime tomorrow. Call me back at 1 o'clock on a tech call, and we will finish the setup on this thing, and we will do some dry runs on cutting some material. He said, not a problem. So he sent me the drawings. I figured I'd jump on here and go live. Man, there's 325 people in here. Are you serious right now? Man, hit the subscribe button. Man, there is 325 people. Hit that subscribe button, boys and girls, and you boys and girls will be a part of the movement to push me over 5,000 subscribers. Come on, let's do it. Hit that button, boys and girls. Daggone, man. Come on. I'm telling you, I'm trying to do more for you guys to give you guys more content and more fabrication stuff, dude. Hit that friggin' subscribe button. I promise you. I promise you, you'll be appreciated. I appreciate you for being here right now. I'm at 4,500 4,500 subscribers. If 300 people hit that button, JG will be at 4,700, man. Come on, let's do it. Let's go. In the words of 87 SS boy, let go. Haha, yes. Because once I get this summer gun running right here, this thing's going to be running all day, every day, and twice on Tuesdays, and every day that ends in Y. This sun gun going to be making some money. Yeah, I'm going to put my boy out here to work. He gotta pay me back for this son of a gun. Let's go. So, I mean, I'm going to make all kinds of stuff with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing apart, unplug everything, take it apart, and switch the rails around. This is called a gantry. This is called a gantry rail. I'm going to switch this gantry rail around, and I'm going to make it look like the drawing it's supposed to. And I got to have it done by 11 o'clock tomorrow because he's going to call me at 1 o'clock. He's in Texas, so he's going to call me 1 o'clock here. And then we're going to do a dry run on this thing. And hopefully by the end of business tomorrow, boys and girls, we are going to have a live video of this son of a gun working. Now, I got to fill this table up with water. This is the drain plugs. I really don't like these, but I'll fix these later where I can drain the water, right? So this is it's actually a 4 foot by 3 foot table. The cutting face is 47 3/4 by 35 1/4 by 47 3/4. I think that's what it is, the cutting face. And basically what I do is just take a piece of whatever, aluminum, put it up here, and then make it, because this is supposed to be home. This is supposed to be home base right here. And then draw out the parts and cut out whatever I need to cut out, like cut stuff like this, whatever. It's going to open. I run one of these tables about 10 years ago when I worked at this other place, K&M Machine Shop. They had a 20 foot by 20 foot ESOB table. It was 200 amp high definition, and cut anything. It would cut up to like 3-inch plate with the oxyacetylene torch. I mean, that thing was nobody's business. So that's that. But I want to give a shout out to, I'll catch up on the comments. I'm trying to remember all stuff on top. But Cars in the Cut is the one that helped me pick out this laptop. And he is a great asset to have, 100%. I have to, so this is the fire control, and what this works is I'll download 360 tonight, and once this gets there, and then I'll do all my CAD drawing in 360, and then I'll bring it over into load program, and then I can cut. This is going to help me do a lot of custom stuff. Like I'm going to make a badge that says Toulouse TV so he can put on his car, on his Regal. I'm going to make a new grill insert for this thing right here. It's going to say Ford on it, because here is the old grill for that box truck. I'm going to redo a grill thing, and I'm going to put the Ford logo in there. Man, this thing is going to just open up a whole different, just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like insane. But let me, so let me go through the comments. Let me, me too. So let me go over here and go through the comments and catch up on the comments and reply to everybody that said anything. So if you're still with me, I appreciate it. And let's go through it. Yeah, big word like mayonnaise. Big word like mayonnaise. Yeah, I want to build a lowrider plaque too. Can I ask the question? Yeah, Frown Glow 321. What's your question? What's up, Randall? What's up, Shamika? What's up, Tulu? What's up, DK? Chris, SKD. Yeah, man, we're down to 118 now. It's a plasma. It's a 45 amp plasma 220. It's a plasma. Definitely money back. Definitely money. Gary, definitely money back. Now JG is a computer mechanic. Yeah, I'm a computer mechanic with my main service rider is Carolina Cars in the Cut. Let's go. That's a bit of work to correct. Yeah, it is. And for the money, it should have been right. But, you know, it's like I told, like the technique, like the guy I was talking to, Johnny, his name was Johnny. And yeah, Johnny was a super cool dude. And let me tell you what Johnny said. Johnny said that they would, he said, is there anything that you don't have for the table? And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, like, he asked me if I had a laptop stand. And I said, yeah, I got a laptop stand. And he said, do you have the sensor? Do you have the limit switches? I said, yes, I do. He said, he said, well, what's your invoice number? So I give it to him. He pulled it up and he said, you don't have IHC. And I said, no, I don't have. I said, yeah, I have IHC. I said, I have that. And he said, okay. So he got to going through and he said, well, man, you pretty much got everything. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, let me see what I can do. I appreciate that, Tulu. He said, let me see what I can do and see if I can make it right to you, because we've took so long to get back with you to figure out what was wrong with the machine. You've had the machine for 3 months. The machine should have been running 3 months ago for you to be making revenue. We apologize for that. He was super nice. I'm going to give him an attaboy. I'm going to email their company office, and I'm going to type up a real good thing. And I'm going to do this regardless of what he said. But he said, let me see what I can find where I can make it right. And I said, dude, the only thing I asked you to do is help me get this sun gun running, and that's all that matters. And so I appreciate your good, positive outlook on it and your understanding. And I said, well, there's a reason for that. And he said, what's that? And I said, if you all right, let me catch back up. So he said this, I said, man, this is how I feel about things. I don't get mad very easily. And he said, what are you talking about? He said, I understand. I said, no, let me tell you something. I don't get mad very easily. It takes a lot to get me mad. But then really in the very end, I'm not mad. And he says, well, I wish everybody was understanding like that. I said, well, you know what? Burying a child changes your perspective on life. He said, excuse me? I said, burying a child changes your perspectives on things. He said, man, I am so sorry. I said, yeah, I appreciate it. I said, you didn't know, so you don't have to apologize because you don't know. But let me give you my outlook on it. Things that people think that are important really ain't that important. The things that people sweat about, that they think that's important, really not that important. It's really not that important. I said, the things that people get all worked up about is really not that important. When you get down to brass tacks, monetary things can be fixed or replaced. Loved ones cannot. We can get this machine fixed one way or the other, or you'll send me a new machine. It just might take a little bit more time. Just like I was struggling to get the right laptop. It took a couple months, and I just got aggravated with it, and I laid it down, and I didn't mess with it no more. And then I just woke up this morning, and I said, I'm going to go get a laptop, and Cars in the Cut, he going to help me. My objective for today is get a laptop and get this sun gun running so I can have this thing cutting by the weekend. So I can practice all weekend on scrap metal and start making parts. That was my objective to today. Get the laptop and get this thing going. That was my objective today. And he said, well, that's cool. I said, but people worrying about things that, people, man, this is what kills me. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you do like me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't keep me up at night, and it shouldn't keep you up at night. If somebody doesn't like you, it should not keep you up at night. And you shouldn't keep talking about it all the time. It's toxic. People are not going to like you. It's okay. It's fine. People are going to like you. It's okay. People are going to love you, and that's okay. And people are going to hate you, and that's okay. There's 6.8 billion people in the world. Why fret over something so minute that somebody don't like you? I don't care. I have enough confidence, self-confidence in myself. If you like me, you like me. But guess what? If you don't like me, guess what? I still like you. I don't have no hate in my heart. I don't have no hate in my heart for you. So if you dislike me, that's okay. I respect that. 100%. I respect that. But just because you don't like me, don't mean I dislike you. See, that's the difference between me and a lot of people in general, in the world. I don't care because it don't keep me up at night. I sleep as good as I can sleep, consider my situation. You understand what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm laying down? You picking up what I'm laying down? You picking up what I'm laying down? And the people that get all twisted up and wrapped up in that spaghetti nest of who likes them and who don't like them, man, lay that shit down, man. Because look, this is the way I look at it. If you go this way, if you do something this way, people are still going to talk about you. If you go this way, people are still going to talk about you. If you don't do nothing, people are still going to talk about you. If you buy a white car, they say, man, that's a nice car, but man, if it was me, I would have bought a red one. If you get a new girlfriend, hey, check my girlfriend. Man, she's nice, but man, I don't think she's right for you though. Get a new boyfriend, man, he's nice, but I don't think he's right for you. Buy you a new house. Man, that's a nice house, man, but if I was going to spend that kind of money, I would have got one with blue shutters. Everybody nitpicks everybody with everything. That's what I said the other day. Why are people taking constructive criticism from people that's never done anything constructive in their life? I don't understand. I don't understand whatsoever. No, we all know you sleep. Yeah. So, excuse me. So, I hope this channel helps somebody computer-wise, body work-wise, welding-wise, fabricating-wise, gardening-wise, self-motivation, mental health, emotional, whatever you want to talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But man, y'all got to put it down and stop saying so-and-so don't like me and so-and-so don't like me. Who gives a rat's ass? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, if you worry about everybody else and what everybody else is worried about, and if you worry about everything else, right? If you worry about what everybody thinks, if you try to make this person happy and this person happy and this person happy, and you take all this energy and trying to make this person happy, and you're trying to do this and try to do that and try to do this and try to do that, try to do this, and at the end of the day, you crawl into bed in the fetal position, you have run your blood pressure up, you have run your stress level up, you have, you laying there in the fetal position, miserable, stomach problems, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, social separation anxiety. You got all this stuff going on, and guess what? All them people out there in the world that you was worried about making happy, they ain't worried about you laying in the bed. They ain't worried about you laying in the bed. Here's a little news flash a lot of people don't know. I have very high learning in psychology and sociology. I have a degree in sociology and sociology. Look, I got degrees. Look here. Y'all think I'm full of shit. Look, I got degrees. Look, y'all think I'm lying. Look, I got degrees hanging on the wall in the shop, just hanging, collecting dust. And they're all in the house too. They just hanging. They just shit on the wall, man. They just paper on the wall. They just paper on the wall. I took classes and got degrees because I wanted to know how people think, how people act, and how people their minds work. Plus, I done all this automotive stuff. Plus, I done all this physics stuff. Now, am I saying that I'm the smartest man in the room? Absolutely not. I can always learn. I learned from Carolina Cut. Why in the hell I keep saying Carolina Big? I learned today from Cars in the Cut. I learned from Cars in the Cut today on computers. What to look for, what not to look for. Don't need this. That's overbuying. That's overselling. You don't need that. You'll never need that. You'll never need this. You'll never need that. You need this. You need that. You don't need that. You might need that. This. So the thing about it is, boys and girls, I appreciate every single one of you. Every single one of you. And I see that it's not popular because we went from 398 people down to 84. So a lot of people don't like talking about emotions. A lot of people don't like talking about mental health, especially men. Tulu's already proved that many nights on Friday Night Lives. Not talking about daggone mental health. Everybody runs away from it like the daggone. They just run away from it. They just like taboo, you know. You can't talk about it. But I appreciate every single one of you in here. I really do. And if I say I got you, I got you. Until you prove otherwise. And if you prove otherwise, then that's on you, baby. That ain't got nothing to do on me. You know, nothing to do on me. If you prove otherwise, then if you prove to me that you're not what you say you are, then I don't wish you no misfortune. I don't wish you no misharm. I just do like Kevin Gates says. I remove myself from the situation, baby. Just because you're not sitting at my table no more, don't mean that we're enemies. I still want to see you win. You're just not going to win at my table. And that's all it means. And that's all it means. We are here on this earth for so little. 75 weeks or 75 seasons, 4,000 weeks. I promise you, people that dislike me or do like me, love me or hate me, does not keep me up at night. I promise you. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to win. Everybody. 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 Now, been on here for 45 minutes. Y'all know my limit is 60 minutes on lives. I got to change that screen thing, man. Like I said, I just got this son of a gun. But tomorrow, well, tonight, I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to eat me something. Might eat me some chicken salad. I ate some of that last night, Tulu. Might eat me some more chicken salad and drink some buttermilk. Hell, I might eat a couple pickled beets while I'm at it. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to take this thing apart. I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to get this thing set up. So tomorrow, when I talk to this cat, everything's good to go. We can do a test run. He says, once I get everything to where it needs to be, probably within an hour, this thing will be up and running, and we'll be lickety-split, and then I'm going to start burning shit like nobody's business. So if anybody wants anything cut out, I will be more than glad to cut it out. If you have the file, like the art file, I'll let you know what art file this thing is compatible to. The thing also has cut software on it where it tells you how much it is per inch. This is how this thing goes. So, for example, it'll tell you, let's say we're going to cut out, let's say we're going to cut this out, right? Let me say, oh, my boy done put up. Let's say, well, let me find something. Let's say we're going to cut this out, right? Let's say we're going to cut this pattern out, right? So we're going to cut this pattern out, right? Let me take this off. Say we're going to cut this shape out, right? Say we're going to cut this shape out. The way this thing works, the way the software works, it has a pierce time. So it comes over here and it pierces. So it charges for pierce time and then it charges for the run time. And it has a formula in there, which is the international which is the industrial standard on the minutes. So let's just say it takes some, I'm not going to say a number because I don't want somebody to say, hey, you said this. No, I don't know what that is. So it's got a pierce time, right? And then that's a charge, pierce time, and then it has a run time, right? And then it runs all the way around the perimeter. And then ever how long it takes, then that's it. Let's just say it's 5 minutes, right? 5 minute cut time, then 1 minute pierce time. So that's actually 6 minutes of run time. And then you have your time for programming. Then you have your time for the metal in, the metal out, and then it breaks it down. I can mention it. Yeah. Yeah, oxtails and tater tots. Did I miss something? Haven't used a 12-ton press bender. Hold on a second. Hold on. What happened? Hold on. I missed something. Hold on a second. Mossy said, I haven't used a 12-ton press and bender yet, but I got it because you took a minute with me. Oh, yeah, man, no problem. No problem, man. You know, when I wait all week to go to Tulu, well, I appreciate every single one of you. What's up, Fly? I might need to trust your own judgment because you're the only one in line. Oh, yeah. Did I miss something? If I get shot in the name of, oh. I don't know. I don't know if I missed the comment. I'm sorry. If I missed the comment, I'm sorry. I appreciate that for that ruble. So again, we hit the other day. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you one more thing. Making the battery tray for the 68 Le Mans. We were on live for 60 minutes. Everybody should get a shout out for this. We were live for 60 minutes making that battery tray, right? We were live for 60 minutes making this battery tray, right? It's 12,881 views and picked up 49 subscribers. When I went around talking about the inner fenders for this 68 Le Mans for 1 hour, talking about how to do this and all this, we hit 17,800 views in 60 minutes and we picked up 52 subscribers. That's 30,000 views yesterday in 2 videos and picked up 60 subscribers. You boys and girls are awesome. So like I said, I hear what you're saying and that's what I'm gonna give you. Y'all know I love to talk. I talk the ears off a damn billy goat. Man, you a bad man. So I can only imagine when we get to programming parts and start cutting parts. I want to give you what you're asking for, and that's more fabrication and less bullshit. So that's where we're at. So we almost got this thing running. Hopefully by the end of tomorrow, we'll have the computer stuff figured out. I'll change the servos around, get them things lined back up, and we'll go lickety-split. And then it's go time, baby. Go time. And then we'll do some more on this. Tomorrow, I was going to work on the Le Mans tomorrow, but the objective tomorrow is get this thing up and running. This week was a great week. Let's finish the week out strong. If you forgot to do Tulu's challenge, today is Throwback Thursday. Post up your old school ride, whether you finish or not, and tag Tulu's TV because today's Throwback Thursday. Let's flood everybody's news feed with their old cars, trucks, lawnmowers, tractors, whatever you got, man, whatever you got. Yeah. So I appreciate every single one of you boys and girls. Remember what I said, don't worry about the man up the road or down the road. Sweep off your own front porch while sweeping off anybody else's. Put God first, let loose and drag. Peace, love, and chicken grace. I'm out.